All right, let's get this webinar started. Hello, my name is Zach Evans, and I hope you're having an awesome week because today we're going to discover how to learn piano songs fast from scratch without being able to sight read or play by ear. And I know it sounds too good to be true, but trust me, it works. It's a strategy I've used over and over, and it uses what I call the Lego block method. And we're going to get all into that in this webinar. It's the same method all the big YouTube piano guys use. If you ever see those people on YouTube that post 3, 4, 5 videos a week, and you look at their videos and they're not reading any kind of sheet music, and you wonder how they do that, this is how they all are able to do that so fast. And you can use this method as well. It's a method I used to learn 20 songs in 3 days. It was kind of a desperation story. I had to do it, so I figured it out. And I'll tell you guys all about that in a little bit. And this was before I knew how to play by ear. So if you don't know how to play by ear, if you don't know music theory, if you don't know how to sight read, you don't need any of that. I have cheat sheets for all the music theory you need, and the playing by ear part, you don't need any of that to be able to use this method. It's very simple to learn. There's a lot of steps, but it's actually really simple to do. And you could literally learn it by the end of this webinar if you really concentrate, if you're here and attentive for this whole webinar and not, getting distracted by things. Now, some people refer to this as the cheater method. We're going to talk about why people call it that and why I think it's an unfair characterization of it because 1, it does work. 2, I don't think you should only use this method. I think you should use it as a broader part of your piano learning. And we'll go into exactly what I mean by that a little bit later. All right. So let's get started. If you're ready, if you can hear me, if you can hear my audio and see my screen, type in ready into the question box and we'll get this thing started. And one other thing I want you to do right now is if you're serious about learning this, learning it the right way the first time and not, wasting a lot of time going back and back over the material, put away all distractions. Take your cell phone, turn it off for now. Close out of any tabs you have open. If you have Facebook open, if you're checking your Snapchat, get rid of all your distractions. And if you can, go to a piano to learn. If you can't get to a piano, just take some pencil and paper and take notes. Don't use, if you can, online notes or Microsoft Word because it's just going to be too distracting in the long run. All right, looks like you guys can hear my audio and can see my visual. Let's get started. By the way, I will have the recording to this later if you're watching this live so that I can do some fancy video editing and get different camera angles and get an overhead shot from a camera I have going on up here, everything like that. All right, so let me tell you the story of how I learned this quick before we get started. I was in big trouble. I was a kid that in college, I just started learning piano again. I learned some songs. I wanted to make some money, just like any other college kid. So I went into a local movie theater. They had a grand piano there, and I'd see people playing there sometimes. And they said, "Hey, I play piano. Can I get the gig?" I auditioned. To audition, you just had to play one song, and they said, "You're good. Come back in 3 days with 2 hours of music." That was the problem where I freaked out. I had to learn 2 hours of music. I had 3 days to learn it. And the problem was, in my head, it was like, oh, I know a bunch of songs, because in the past, I'd played a bunch of songs. The problem was I couldn't play those songs I'd learned them in the past, but I couldn't bring them back without re-practicing all of that, which would have taken weeks, maybe even months to bring back all those songs. So I was kind of freaking out. Let's just say that. And let me talk about my skills at the time when I was doing this. I couldn't sight read. I couldn't play by ear, at least not well, definitely not well enough to learn anything close to this in this amount of time. And the worst part was it literally took me 80% of my practice time to just learn the notes of the song. Regardless of learning how to be expressive, regardless with adding something of myself to it, it was very challenging for me because I would spend so much time just learning, the monkey part of piano, learning the notes, which notes go where, and putting hands together. And it was tough to motivate myself because it's like I spend, a month finally learning a song and then I can play one song. Great. And then it's very hard to stay motivated. I'd have weeks where I'd really focus and then I'd kind of give up on it for a while, and then I'd come back. But once I learned the Lego block method and I was learning song after song, it was very easy to motivate myself. So that's another kind of benefit to it. And the worst part was, like I said, I forgot every song. And I want you to answer this question for me. And I want you to be real honest with yourself right now. How many songs right now do you know that you could play, gun to your head? How many songs could you play right now? And by play, I mean play to the confidence level that you think you could play it out in public if you had a gig in front of people. Not where you can kind of play it, but you mess up a lot and you don't really know it that well. I mean play it, you have it rock solid enough to play in front of an audience. Be really honest with yourself, because I remember at the time when I had that problem, I literally could play the song I just learned. I could play the last song I learned. The song before that, I could kind of play, but it was hazy. And anything before that, nothing. I mean, I couldn't even get close to playing the song. And it really got down on me that moment when I realized all this years and months of practice time, all this time I'd spent learning, and I only had 2.5 songs to show for it. That's when it really got me down and kind of depressed, because it was like, man, I spent all this time practicing and I have nothing to show for it. So I want you to really think about how many songs you could play right now. All right, so here's how I solved this problem. At the time, I'd been putting up some YouTube videos. I'd probably 1,000, 2,000 subscribers at the time. Not that many, but I had a couple people on YouTube that I kind of knew just from commenting on videos, stuff like that. And I literally emailed them plus every other piano YouTuber that I knew that I could find on the internet. And most of them didn't respond, but the ones that did, I noticed something very interesting. They all used the same method. Now, they didn't call it the same thing. They didn't have a name for it most of the time. It was just a system they kind of figured out by using a couple different free resources online that allowed them to learn many songs very fast. And they weren't sight reading at all. And if you look at these videos of, most of these YouTube guys, most of them don't have any sheet music up. And you're like, how are you doing this? Did you memorize these songs? But they didn't memorize them either. They're using this method I'm about to teach you. And it worked. I learned 20 songs in 3 days. I kept the gig. It was a sweet gig. I played 2 hours on Tuesdays, 2 hours on Thursdays, paid $20 an hour. Plus I'd make $20 to $40 in tips. And I got a free movie ticket every time I played. So every week I'd come out with like $150 and a couple movie tickets that I could take my girlfriend to the movies or whatever. It was a great gig. And I'm so glad I didn't give up on it. And instead I worked and learned this method. And you can do the same thing. You can use this method too. Now I will say those 3 days, don't get it twisted. This wasn't 3 days of like, me just practicing for like an hour and I learned 20 songs. This is like 3 days of work. I was putting in the time because I also had to learn how the method worked the first time. The first time it's going to be slower. But 20 songs, that was more songs than I'd learned that entire year that I learned in 3 days. And when that hit me, I was like, man, I need to start doing this more often. And the best part too was, let me go back quick. Well, I can't go back, but I also remembered those songs. I remembered those songs even though I hadn't played them in so long. All right, so now you're probably thinking, what's the catch? And you should be thinking that. You're probably thinking this is too good to be true. Why, there's got to be some kind of catch. Well, there are pros and cons of this method. And we'll go through the pros and the cons. First, what are the pros? Saves you a massive amount of time. Huge amount of time learning songs. So you can actually spend more time enjoying the songs, working on your expressiveness, playing out live, stuff like that. Step 2, you can play gigs earlier. And here's where I think this is important. If this is your goal, now for some of you, you might not care about playing out live. You might just want to play for yourself. That's fine. But if your goal is to play out live, there's a series of skills you have to learn about gigging, right? You have to learn how to play in front of an audience without getting nervous. You have to learn if you mess up, what do? You have to learn strategies to get more tips. There's a lot of strategies you learn by gigging, but you can't learn those strategies until you start actually gigging. So if you wait for learning the songs, by sight reading, you might take 4 or 5 years to learn how to sight read, and now you're gigging, but now you have to learn all these other skills, gigging skills, from scratch. So now it's going to take you even longer to start actually earning money from your songs. And of course, all those 5 years, think how much money you would have made if every week you were making, 100, 150 bucks playing gigs. Now all that money is down the drain. You can't get it because you learn the skills later. So I think it's really important to try to play gigs as soon as humanly possible if that's your goal. And using this method will help you do that. The biggest pro is you can reuse what I call Lego blocks. And this gets into more of the theory of how it works. And we'll go into later, we'll do an actual over-the-shoulder example where I'll show you on the keyboard how I actually implement this method. But basically, just real quick, I'll show you that, okay, so every song has a chord progression, right? Maybe that's a chord progression. What we're gonna do is we're gonna implement Lego blocks into that. For one kind of Lego block is a left-hand pattern. So you might learn this left-hand pattern, right? And that left-hand pattern, if you see my YouTube channel, it's my most popular video. It's called The Best Left-Hand Pattern on Piano. And it looks hard, but literally, I said in the video, I'm like, you can learn this in a week. And then I'd get comments beneath the video of all these people that were almost angry, and they're like, a week, I learned this thing in an hour, or a week, I learned this thing in 30 minutes. So it doesn't take a long time to learn, but once you learn it, you can put it into any chord progression, and you can do. And all of a sudden you have this beautiful left-hand thing to put a right-hand melody on top of. Same thing with right hand, you can learn little flares, you can learn little stuff like that. And once you learn it for one song, you can reuse it in another song. And we'll talk about how to do that. Third thing, you remember your songs. Because since you're using this Lego block, maybe for 10, 15, 20 songs, you can keep reusing it. This Lego block, you don't even have to think about. It's literally, you memorized it because you played it thousands of times. So it makes it so much easier to remember all your songs. Next thing, it's free. You don't have to buy sheet music because you're not using sheet music. You're going to use some online resources, and I'm going to tell you about those resources, Synthesia's and a Guitar Chords website, but they're all free. You don't have to pay any money. And the last thing, it's great training wheels exercises for if you're learning to play by ear. Because you can learn a song, you can try to learn it by ear, and then you can check yourself using the Lego block method. And we'll get more into that in depth later. All right, so what are the cons? What's the catch? First big one, this only works with popular songs. If you're playing pop songs, rock songs, country songs on piano, even hip hop songs you can use this method for, but it won't work if you're playing classical. If you're playing classical music, you can't use this method. Jazz and blues and stuff like that, you can't use this exact method, but the skills you learn in this are very applicable. For example, if you notice blues players, they all have, one blues player might have one left-hand pattern he uses all the time, right? They have the little, and he might use that same left-hand pattern in 50 different songs. Just like the Lego block method, we're gonna do this with more pop, rock, and those type of songs. So, but if you're doing classical, this isn't gonna work for you. Second, you can't play the exact rendition, right? If there's a certain bass line in the song, you might not be able to copy that exact bass line or exact guitar riff. Now you could figure it out, but it's not part of the Lego block method. So basically you'll have a melody and you'll have a chord structure and a chord pattern that you either make up or you copy off the ones that I'm going to show you. Now, to me, this isn't really a con because personally, I love making songs my own. I love not playing the exact way. And I find that audiences like it a lot better too. If you can take a hardcore hip hop song and turn it into a beautiful ballad, if you can take Drake, Hotline Bling and turn it into something like that, where it's a beautiful song, or a heavy rock song, turn it into a beautiful piano cover, or vice versa. If you can take a slow song, make it super upbeat and fun, people love that. People go nuts for that. So I think this is actually kind of a pro in a way, but if you're the type where you're like, no, I want to play the exact, rendition, if that's your style, this isn't really going to help you. Third thing, there's a speed ceiling. What I mean by this, when you first start learning this method, it will take you, probably a couple hours for your first song, maybe even longer than that. But as you keep doing it, your time to learn the song goes down very fast. Like your second song might only take you an hour, third song might take you 30 minutes. And as you practice it enough, you can get it down to about 10 minutes to learn a song. And that's about the ceiling you can get it at. Because you still have to go through all these steps, even though you'll get really good and fast at all these steps. But if you want to get it down from 10 minutes to 1 minute, you got to learn to play by ear. Once you can play by ear, you can basically instantly learn songs. But if you can't play by ear, then using this method, you can get down to about 10 minutes. So that's why I recommend don't just do the Lego block method and nothing else. You want to be doing the Lego block method, but you also want to be practicing playing by ear. Or if you're into the sight reading thing, then you can, also practice sight reading. You also want to be working on technique, that kind of stuff. This isn't a only do this and you're good. This is a piece to the puzzle of your piano journey. All right, let's go quick overview, step by step, what we're going to do. I'm not going to go in depth right here because after this, we're going to do an over-the-shoulder example. I'm going to show you literally how I put this in an actual song. First thing we're going to do, we're going to learn the left hand quick and dirty outline. What I mean by this, it's just going to be the basic chord progression in block chords. So it might be, we're not going to do any fancy, none of that fancy stuff, just bare bones outline. This is the most complicated step, but it's actually not that hard. Second, we're going to learn the right hand quick and dirty outline. So that's literally single note melodies. So it might be, if it was like Hotline Bling, we're not doing, we're not doing some kind of roll chords and all that kind of stuff. We're just doing literally single note outline. All right, step 3, left hand, we're going to add the Lego blocks. And the Lego blocks, remember what I said? They're cool patterns you can add. They don't take that long to learn. And once you learn them, you can reuse them in different songs. So you take the chord progression, from that chord progression do, something like that. Step 4, right hand Lego blocks. There's a lot of these you can add. It's stuff like instead of doing, maybe, you could do octaves, you could do roll chords. Something like that. We'll go over that. Step 5, intros, outros, and transitions. I'll go into that in a bit. And step 6, this isn't really a step. This is just saying, once you learn a left-hand pattern or a Lego block for one song, you can literally just copy and paste it into your next song. It really is that easy. All right, and then stick around to the end of the webinar because we're going to go over some PDF bonuses I got for you guys for free. Also, a special deal I have going on a course if you want to kind of take this to the next level, right? You don't want to just learn songs fast, but you want to make songs captivating. And if you're part of the PSH Piano Superhuman course, you probably already know about this course, but there's a super deal I have going on with this webinar if you're interested. And I'm talking about the biggest mistakes. Please, please, please at least watch this section because even if you know how to do the Lego block method, there's ways of learning the method that will make it much faster and much less frustration. And if you do make some of these mistakes, you might get stuck at these plateaus when you're learning it. So make sure you watch all the way through. All right, time to do a real life example. All right, so the first song we're gonna do is Wrecking Ball by Miley Cyrus. Now the reason I chose this song is because I did a cover a while back and I got everybody asking me for the sheet music. And of course, I don't have sheet music because I didn't learn it using sheet music. I learned it using this method. So I wanna show you guys how to do it. Even if you don't like this song, it's a good exercise to go through it so you can learn how to use the method. All right, so I have this little sheet up. This is all the steps you will need to learn the Lego block method. Now I'll have a nice little PDF for you guys. It'll probably look a lot better than this, but for the sake of this video, I'm just gonna use this sheet. All right, so step 1, left hand bare bones, we're gonna get the chord structure. Now, before I go through this, I'm gonna say something real quick. This is the most complicated part of the entire process. Please, 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 I'm begging you, don't give up if it seems complicated at first, because it's not hard, it's complicated, right? It's intricate, But once you learn all the steps, you literally just follow the step-by-step process. If you get confused, the first couple times you learn this method, you'll probably have to go back in the video and re-watch this part of the video, especially if you don't know music theory very well. But once you learn it and do it for a couple songs, I mean, you'll be doing it like that. It's super easy. All right, so step one is we're gonna find the chords of the song using synthesias. Now, if you don't know what synthesias are, all you go to YouTube and you type in the name of the song, King Ball, and then synthesia. You've probably seen these before. They look like this. They're the little, it's kind of like Guitar Hero for piano. Now, what you want to do is ignore all the crazy ones. These ones always crack me up. Wrecking Ball, 1 million notes, impossible cover. I'm just like, okay, like, you obviously didn't play that. It's just it's like a robot playing it. But anyway, I digress. We're gonna go to, you wanna look for an easier version. So this one looks pretty easy. Click on that one. Now what we wanna do with this is we wanna find 4 chords in the song, and we're gonna write them down right here. And if you don't know music theory, we're gonna go into how to use the cheat sheets to easily find the chords, even if you don't know music theory. So we want to get to the part where the song actually starts. You want to skip the intro because a lot of times the intro has weird riffs or the chords change and stuff like that. So we're going to wait till the actual song starts. All right, so this is the intro right here. Here we go. All right, this is the start of the actual song. We're going to be looking at this left-hand part to see what the chords are. So let's start back at that, and we're going to find the first chord. All right. Get ready. Here we go. Boom. There's going to be a D, and what else is he playing? If you didn't see it, it was an F, an A, and another D up top. So the notes are D, F, A, and there's another D. We don't have to retype the D because we already have a D in here. So now we got to find out what chord this is. Now, if you know music theory, right away, you'll be able to say that's a D minor chord. Or even if you've been doing this a while and you use the cheat sheets long enough, you can do it. All right, so we're going to use the major chords cheat sheet right here and the minor chords right here. If you don't have these cheat sheets, I'm going to have the downloads right below this video so you can quickly get them. And all we do is we look for one of these chords that has a D, an F, and an A. So C major, there's no D in it. F major, there's no D. G major, there's a D, but there's no F, there's no A, it's not a G major chord. And we go through all of these chords, and eventually when we did this, you know, if you actually went through all the chords, you get up to this chord on the minor chords and say, D minor, D, F, and A. Boom. This is a D minor chord. So the first chord is a D minor. I just do a little M for minor. Let's find the next chord. Go back to the synthesia. Boom. It's going to be C, F, A, C. Hope you could see that. If you didn't, you can rewind the video. It had a C, F, A, C. Boom. Go back to your cheat sheets. Actually, let's type it in here quick. So C, F, A, C. Actually, we don't need that last C. We already have a C at the front, so we're fine. What has a C, an F, and an A in it? Now, a lot of people think, oh, it has a C for the first note, so it's a C chord. Don't fall in that trap. That's a trap a lot of people fall into. It's not necessarily a C chord. Because look, a C chord has a C, but there's no F, there's no A. It's not a C chord. Now this F major chord, does it have a C? Yep, but the C's up here, and it has an F and has an A. Boom, this is an F major chord. So F. Now notice that these are in a different order. That doesn't matter. What that's called is a chord inversion. Don't worry about that. That's a little more advanced theory. And it doesn't matter for the Lego block method. We're not going to deal with inversions. We just want to know, does this have the same notes as this? It's that simple. All right, let's go to the next chord. Boom, did you see it? It's C, E, G, and it even continues here, C, E, C, G, C. Okay, just in case you didn't see that, we'll go earlier. So this is our D minor chord, F chord, boom, C chord. C, E, G. Sorry, I gave it away. This is C, E, G. If you look back at your sheets, the first chord, this one's easy because it's the first one, a C, an E, and a G. Boom, C major chord. So now we go back to our sheet. This is a C chord, shoot, C chord. You'll notice for major chords, I don't put C. You can do that if you want, but standard notation, if it doesn't have anything after it, you just assume it's major. All right, and the fourth chord is, all right, I don't know if you saw that. If you didn't, rewind the video, but there's a G, a B flat, and a D. So G, B, or G, B flat, and a D. All right, and we go back to our thing. G, C major has a G, no B flat, no D. F major doesn't even have a G. Boom, you go through all these chords. And I mean, I don't want to waste time going through all these with you. You can do this obviously on your own time. You're smart. And eventually you get to here and see G minor chord has a G, a B flat, and a D. And again, if you know music theory, you're probably like, Zach, shut up, hurry up. This is taking forever. I know what a G minor chord is. If you know music theory, that's great, but I want to make this video. If you don't know music theory, who cares? You can do it this way. And the nice part about this too, is it gets you really used to chords, right? After you do this 2 or 3 times, you're constantly staring at the sheet, looking at these chords. You'll start to internalize the chords, and eventually you'll see C, E, G. You won't even think. You'll just know C major chord. And that's what makes it really, really fast as you get better at this. All right, step 2, we're gonna find the key. Now, a lot of people get this confused when it comes to music theory. We are not in the key of D minor just because the first chord is a D minor. That doesn't mean we're in the key of D minor. It doesn't mean we're in the key of F. It doesn't mean we're in C or G minor. What matters is a key is something that contains all 4 of these chords. So to figure out what key it is, now if you know music theory, you already know. If you don't, no big deal. We're gonna go to this cheat sheet. It's the chords in each key. So these are the keys on this side, and these are, if you go across, these are the chords they contain. So in the key of C, it contains the chords C, D minor, E minor, F, G, and A minor. So we're looking for a key that contains the chords D minor, F, C, G minor. All right, so the key of C, it has a D minor, it has an F, it has a C. Oh, this looks good, except G minor. This has a G major, so it's not C. Key of G, this D minor chord, does not have a D minor chord. Key of F, it has a D minor chord here, has an F chord, has a C chord, and it has the G minor. Boom. We are in the key of F. So that means this Synthesia version is in the key of F. Now you could just play this in the key of F and that would be fine, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna transpose it to C. And the reason being, sometimes there's a very difficult key, like you might be in the key of F sharp, which has it has a lot of sharps and flats. It's very confusing. Now, some of you might be saying, I know I'm gonna get comments, well, Zach, you should learn all the keys because it's gonna make you a better pianist. Yes, I agree with that, but I'm under the impression, I think it's better to master one key, master the key of C, so you can do it with your freaking eyes closed. That way you can start playing out at gigs, you can play for your family, you can play songs, and then you can go back and say, okay, now I'm gonna systematically learn all the other keys one by one. So that's why I think it's better to learn C first. So what we're gonna do is transpose the C. Now transposing sounds scary. It's actually very easy. We're in the key of F, and we need the formula to get to the key of C. So all you do is you sit down at your piano, you find an F, and we need to move from F to C. So our formula is F, we have to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we go down 5 notes, down 5. If you're a theory nerd like me, you will say that's down 5 half steps. If you don't know theory, it doesn't matter. It's just 5 notes. It's just a fancy way of saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 notes down. Now this is gonna be our formula for everything else we do in here. All right, so now what we're gonna do is find the chords for C. All right, so it's pretty easy. We take this D minor chord, we go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's an A. So this is an A, and since it's a D minor, this is gonna be an A minor chord. That's our first chord. Next is an F. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, C. Next is a C, C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, G. So we're gonna have a G. G minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, D. And since it's minor, this is gonna be a D minor chord as well. Now real quick, just just a caveat, if there's people telling you, well, no, this isn't in C, it's in A minor. Technically, you could look at it either way. Most pop songs are not really necessarily in a major or minor key. This starts off sounding minor, but once you get into the chorus, it starts on a C chord, it sounds more major. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about minor keys. It's better to just, for the Lego block method, when you're in a key, you just assume you're in a major key. And if you don't know what anything I just said meant, don't worry about it. All that stuff is just kind of like if you know more about theory and it's really semantics. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so now we have these 4 chords. Now you could do this for the entire song and plot out the rest of the song. That's gonna take forever. Let's not do that. All we have to do is actually look up Wrecking Ball guitar chords. Boom, and there's gonna be a ton of these examples. Usually the first one's right. I've tried to find Ultimate Guitar. That's the best site for them, typically. What you want to make sure is this is either 4 or 5 stars. If it's 3 or below, you just hover over this and you find one with more stars. But 4 stars is pretty much accurate, so is 5. Usually this just means they left out like the 7ths and stuff like that, which you don't need for the Lego block method. All right, so now here's what we do. Actually, I did this before, so if you went to this page, this would just look like this. I did this before, so it was already transposed. So what we need to do is make this first chord match up with this first chord. All right, so this is a B minor chord, but we're playing in a different key. We need this first chord to be an A minor. So to get from B minor to A minor, 1, 2, we go down 2. So the transpose down 1, transpose down 2, boom. Now our chord matches up A minor, A minor. You'll notice C, C. The next chord is G, G. Next chord is D minor, D minor. Boom. So now we've successfully transposed this into the key of C. Now we're in the key of C, and all these chords are going to be very easy because it's all the white notes. So now for the whole song, we have our chords. You'll notice the chorus changes. The chorus starts on a C, not an A minor. But now we don't have to go transpose everything from this onto this. We just found the transposition. Now this whole song is in the right key. All right. So now we've checked this off. So step 1 is done. Check. We have the chords. Now what you're going to want to do is just practice these chords a little bit. So you go up here, you'll notice verse is A minor, C, G, D, A minor, C, G, D. It just repeats. So you just practice A minor, C, G, D minor. Now, and you just practice that over and over and drill it into your system. Now, the first time you practice this, it might be hard transitioning from these chords to each other and getting them fast. But once you learn 2 or 3 songs, we're doing them all in the key of C. So all these same chords are going to be used over and over again. So the second time will be much faster. All right, that's step 1. Step 2, right hand bare bones. All right, so we're going to just learn the single note melody, that part. All right, so first thing we do, remember the formula. So the formula is just down 5. Boom, down 5. Step 2, find the possible notes. So now we transpose this to the key of C. Now, when you do this at the start, you'll always transpose it to C. In the future, if you want to transpose it to a different key, maybe you want to work on the key of F sharp to try to learn it because you're just interested in that. Then you can transpose it to F sharp. And to find out what notes are in the key, you just go to the major scales cheat sheet. We're in the key of C, so we know the melody's going to use all these notes, right? So it's all white notes. It's any of these. We're not going to use any of those. We could use, any of these white notes up here. These are our possible keys, and this will make it so much easier to figure out the melody. Now, if you're in a different key, if you're in F sharp, you will know it's only these keys, and the rest aren't going to be in it. Now, quick caveat to this. This is, in pop music, this will work. And there's almost never what we call accidentals, which means notes that are outside of the key. But yes, I have to say as a caveat, occasionally there will be a song that uses one of the black notes, even when we're in the key of C. But it's very few songs, and there won't be a ton of black notes. There might be one here or there. So I don't want you to get too wrapped up with that for now. So right now we know the possible notes are the white notes. All right, now we're gonna figure out the melody. So first, we just gotta find the start. So we go back here, and we find that first note. Or first, I usually find it first couple notes of the verse. So what is this? Okay, so those first notes, if you didn't notice it, it's going to be A and D. So they're applying. Actually, yeah, you can see that in the camera, right? I'll just do it down here just in case. Now remember, these are the notes in the key of F because we're doing the Synthesia version. So we need to transpose these to C. Well, guess what? We know the formula for C. We take these and we simply go down 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, E. And now this works. So now we have, and okay, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but now you know that part of the melody. Now you can keep going, and you notice the next part. Okay, it goes a little lower now. Now it goes to the C. No big deal. C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to be a G. So now we know it's. We know that. Now let's see what it does next. Okay, so da-na, and they had it. What is that? C, E, I think. Yep, C, E. And we're just going to take these two notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a B. So they did. Now it's going to be. And then that. And guess what? This part, you could probably just figure that out. What I want you to do when you're doing this is try to figure it out a little bit by ear. And then if you can't figure it out, just use the formula on the Synthesia. Because you'll notice, since you know it's only white keys, that limits your number of keys. It cuts out almost half the keys. So it makes it very much easier to play by ear. And if you can't get something, you just go back to the Synthesia. All right, so you're going to do that with the rest of the song. You can go to the chorus, find the notes, put them down 5, learn the chorus, and that's it. And you're going to just practice that until you have. Right hand, just like that. All right, so it's actually pretty easy once you get the hang of it. And the nice part, this builds your ability to play by ear, because if you try to play by ear first, if you get it wrong, you can look and you can get the feedback instantly. And then, you know, that's how playing by ear, part of how it works. All right, that's step 2. So now we have the melody, and remember, we played it down here. You can literally just play the E and the A up here. So you can if you have to fit the chords in. So now, hands together, we have. Right? And you have that all the way through the song. All right, so that's step 2. Step 3, now we're gonna spice up the left-hand pattern using Lego blocks. So now we're just going to take these chords. We're going to find one left-hand pattern. If you want to, for this example, we'll use the. And this is from. I actually have a video of it online, and I call it the best left-hand piano pattern for beginners. And it might look complicated if you're a beginner, but on the video I said this will probably take you a week to learn. And I would get comments from people under the video that were angry, and they're like, a week to learn? I learned this in an hour. I learned this in 30 minutes. It's really not that hard to learn. I'll put a link to that video down below so you can learn it. But you don't have to use that pattern. You can make up your own pattern. You can try looking up another pattern, but let's just use that pattern for now. So now you just have to practice it with all the chords. So. Or what was it, G? D minor. Boom. Drill it into your system. Now, the first time you drill this in, like anything else, it's gonna take a while to get the pattern under your fingers. It might take a day, it might take 2 days. But the next song you learn, you can use this exact same pattern. It's already drilled into your fingers. It's instantly you have it there right in front of you. All right, so that's the next one, choose patterns. Part 4 is spice up the right hand. Okay, so now there's 3 main things we can do with the right hand. Octave transposition, choosing patterns, and adding flares. So first thing is octave transposition. So let's say we're doing... We can move that up here, and this is gonna sound bad because my E key is sticking on me right now, but, oh, there we go. Right, you can move it up here. Still sounds cool. You can move it wherever you want, and the nice part, usually the higher you move it, it gives it a more sensitive feel. The lower it gives it a more powerful feel, right? So if you want to make it sensitive, you could do. Or you could do more of a. So you can mix it up, right? You can mix it up. Second thing you can do is called choosing patterns. Now there's a couple go-to patterns I have. So the first one is octaves. Now octaves is simply playing the melody, but you play it with your thumb and your pinky an octave apart. So this is an E, this is an E, but you play the whole melody like that. So it'd be. Now, I wouldn't use this for a verse typically, because usually it works, octaves sound very powerful. So usually the verse I keep a little more low key, and then the chorus I might come in with, I came in like a wrecking ball, and bring it in for the chorus. But it's just an option you have. Another option is using a chord tone below the melody note. Now this is a little more advanced. So if you're a beginner, I wouldn't suggest going through this, but if you've been playing a while, it's a good trick to use. And it's actually kind of hard to use in the verse because it's so disjunct, so I won't even use it in the verse. But maybe in the chorus, you could use it. That's where you simply take a note below the melody note that's in the chord you're playing and play it with the melody notes. So our first chord is, actually in the chorus, I think the chords switch. So chorus, first chord is a C. So you might, I came in like a wrecking ball. You might play a C below that melody note. So I came in like a wrecking ball. And then what's the next chord? G. So then you might put in a B because a B is still part of a G. And then it's what? A minor? A minor? Actually, you could do, right? So you're just adding a chord tone below. Pretty simple. But this will be harder to implement because you have to think, what chord am I playing? And then think, what's a note in that chord that's below the melody note? And then get used to playing them at the same time. So it's more advanced. And you can take that even further if you want by using what I call rolled chords. And that's when you kind of roll up to the melody note. And you can just use any white notes, or you can use the chord you're playing underneath. So you could do, I came in like a wrecking ball. But you can also use the chord. So for a C chord, you could use a C chord underneath and roll up. So you could do. And you just roll up to the chord. So that's another thing you can add. Now, before I go on, I want to say, I would suggest, if this is your first time learning this and you're a beginner, don't even worry about this right hand stuff. Just learn one left hand pattern. Make it simple. And once you learn one left hand pattern, first of all, your songs are still going to sound good. I mean, if I'm playing Wrecking Ball and I'm... that still sounds fine. That sounds great, you know? You don't have to do you don't have to worry about that if you're a beginner. Just stick to one left-hand pattern and just play single note melodies. Don't even worry about this step. But when you get more advanced, that's when you want to start, really captivating audiences and really taking it to the next level. That's when you start doing that. All right, so, the third thing you can add is flares. And when I show you the actual example of the song I played on YouTube, the version with this, I added a ton of flares. This is basically when you have space between the melody notes, you can add a little riff up the keyboard, an arpeggio riff, an octave sweep, something like that. So you could do, something like that, just when you have a little space. And all that is a D minor arpeggio, D, F, A, D, F, A, D. And you can do a quick arpeggio sweep in there. And I'll have more about how to do those techniques later on in this lesson. All right, so you can add flares. That's the third thing you can do. And that's it. Now you have a right hand part to your piece. You have a left hand part. Now the last thing, this is 100% optional. You can add intros, outros, and transitions. Now an intro, like you could go back to the Synthesia and literally transpose the whole intro he had and use that. To me, that takes way too much time. One thing you could always do is just play chords, right? So the first chord progression is this. You can literally play. These are just the chords. Right, and then you go into the actual song. So that's an easy thing to do. And you notice you can play chords and you can play, if you're playing a chord like this, an A minor chord, you can do. You can play any of these notes in any order. It's gonna sound cool. You can do. You can play anything as long as it contains those chord notes. That's a cool little intro. Another intro you can do, arpeggio sweeping. There's a free lesson in my PSH course about that. But if you want to add a kind of flashy intro to get everybody's attention right away, you can add a quick sweep. So you could do a quick, just hold that and then do a. And then come in like that. And sometimes that's a cool way to do it. A good way to end it, my favorite way, is arpeggio sweep and then a glissando down to the end. So you could end it wrecking ball. Something like that, where you sweep up, you end on the second last chord, and then you end on the chord. That's 100% optional. You don't need to do any of that stuff. That's just kind of if you want to add some flashiness. All right, and that's it. Now you have your song. Now you have Wrecking Ball by Miley Cyrus. I hope that all made sense to you. And let me make sure my cameras are on and see how much juice I've left. Maybe we'll do another example just to make sure. All right, I got 2 bars in that one. All right, I got 2 bars. I hope these batteries last. Okay, so we'll do another one quick just because I want to make sure that you guys know the whole process. Let's do a Hello by Adele. I always get people asking me about that. I actually haven't covered it, so that'll give you guys a good, I'm starting this from scratch. So, first step, left hand bare bones. Let's go. Hello, Synthesia. Boom. I think I like this one the best. I can't remember. So let's just find the chords first. All right, so these chords will be easy to find. Right away, you can see F minor chord. Oh, let's go through the whole process. So it has F, A flat, C. F, A flat, C. By the way, if you're like, Zach, I get it. I know music theory. I don't want to go through another example. Just go down to the end of this video and you can look through the biggest mistakes and then the special deal at the end. All right, so F, A flat, C. Let's go back to our preview. And I'll save you the time. Remember, we're going to go through all these chords and try to find a chord with an F, an A flat, and a C. I'll save you the time. F, A flat, C. It's going to be an F minor chord. So this first one, F minor. What's the next chord? Boom. So this has A flat, E flat, A flat, C. So A flat, E flat, and it has another A flat. We don't got to write it, and C. Again, go here. I'll save you the time. A flat major chord. It has an A flat. It has an E flat. It has a C. Notice as these are in a different order, but it doesn't matter. This is still an A flat chord. What's the next chord? Let's go back to the Synthesia. Boom. So it's E flat, G, E flat, and another E flat. So E flat, G, E flat. Go back. Or G, E, G, and B flat. My bad. That's a B flat. B flat. Go back to your preview. And I'll save time for you again and tell you E flat major. Where is that? E flat major. E flat, G, E flat. Boom. It's an E flat chord. And the last chord we're going to get, boom, C sharp, F, C sharp. So C sharp, F, C sharp. Let's go back to our chords and I'll save you time again. C sharp, F, C sharp. It's a C sharp major chord. Boom. Next step, we're going to find the key. So remember, we're going to use our chords and keys cheat sheet, which is this one. We're going to find which key has an F minor, an A flat, an E flat, and a C sharp. So let's see. Let's try F minor first. C does not have an F minor, G does not have an F minor. F does not have an F minor, D has an F sharp minor but not an F minor. B flat, nope. A, nope. E flat, E flat has an F minor. It has an A flat. It has an E flat. And it has, nope, so it's not E flat. All right, let's try E minor, or E does not have an F minor. A flat has an A flat, has an E flat, has an F minor, and, oh, here's a tricky thing too. I'm glad I went through another example. You'll notice that a C sharp on the piano, C sharp, is the same thing as a D, or a C sharp, sorry. C sharp is the same thing as a D flat. So an A flat, the key of A flat has a D flat major chord in it. We're saying a C sharp, well, that's the same thing. We could say D flat, D flat. So A flat does contain all four of these chords. So we know this is in the key of A flat. Now, how do we find the formula for C? A flat, 1, 2, 3, 4 to get to C, so up 4, up 4. Find the chords for C. All right, so F minor, remember our formula is up 4. So F, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's going to be A minor, A minor. A flat, 1, 2, 3, 4, C. E flat, 1, 2, 3, 4, G. And C sharp, 1, 2, 3, 4, or D flat, sorry, is F. Boom, here's our chords, A minor, C, G, F. Notice that in Wrecking Ball, we used, I think, all of these. I don't know if we didn't use an F, I don't believe, in Wrecking Ball, but we used all these other chords. So you'll notice that these are very familiar chords. All right, now guitar chords. So now this is when we go back to this and we look up hello chords. Boom. How many stars are we getting? Make sure it's 4 or 5 stars. And remember, we need chords to match up, so E minor has to match up with A minor. Boom. So E minor, and you can just keep hitting this. F, F sharp, G, G sharp, boom, A minor. Let's see if they match up. Let's check it. A minor, C, C, G, G, F, F. Boom, here's our chords. We got it. All right, so now you're going to practice A minor, C, G, over and over. Next, right hand bare bones. So we're going to go back to the Synthesia. We're going to find the melody. Actually, first, let's do the actual steps. Okay, so first remember the formula. Up 4. The possible notes were in the key of C because we just transposed it to C. So the key of C has all the white notes. So the only notes we can use are the white notes. All right, now we're going to transpose the melody. So we look for the melody. Boom, B flat to C. We're going to take each of these up 4 because that's our formula. So the C, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the B flat, 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. Hello, it's me. And I bet you could figure out this part by ear. Dun-dun. You might have trouble with that A. But if you can't play B ear, no big deal. You just find it on here, transpose whatever note it is on the Synthesia, up 4, and it'll be this one. So now it's going to sound something like this. Where's my chords? Here we go, A minor. Oh, actually it goes hello, and then to the C, it's me, G, F. So. Boom, now you already got the chords and the melody. And honestly, you could probably just leave it like that for this song since it's such a slow song. But let's go through all the rest of the parts anyway. C, spice up the left hand. Boom, let's say we're going to use the same pattern. Guess what? It's still going to sound good. See, use that. Remember? We just used that pattern for the last example. We just used it again, but now it's easy to learn because you already know it from the last part. So boom, this step takes no time at all. Now we're going to spice up the right hand. So this is up to you. You could transpose it to here. Or you could octave transpose it, maybe up to here. Or you could have some of the song down here, some up here. It's up to you. You can just mix it up. You could, let's see what else you could do. You could choose a pattern. So actually I was adding some roll chords. So you could do. I messed up. Right, you could add some roll chords like that. You could add octaves. I wouldn't do octaves for the verse. You could do you could do that. You could do any of those. You could add flares if you want. I don't think this is the right song for flares, but you could do. Actually, it'd be a. You could add flares in there if you want. I don't think it's the right style, but you could definitely choose to do that. Boom, now you have cool right hand part. Now you just add in transitions. You could add the beginning, you could just do chords, right? You could do. That's a great intro. I mean, you could do a big arpeggio sweep. I wouldn't do it for this song, but you could do a. And then to do a. Actually, that kind of does sound cool, just because it leaves like this big swell, and then you come in with. It sounds so much. You could do that if you want. You can add an outro if you want. You could do a big, glissando down for the end. But there you have it. Now, I mean, there's another song that yeah, it's gonna take a little bit more than that, right? It takes 10 minutes to kind of get used to the chords and the melody and everything, but it's very, very fast. All right. I'm also gonna put my Wrecking Ball, what I actually did with it, down below this video. And just so you can see, like, okay, if you want to really take your game to the next level, in that video, I kind of like really pushed myself and I added in a ton of blocks. So it's a really good way to see, like, okay, I took a simple song, I added in these flares, I added in these left-hand patterns, and it really worked out well. A lot of people said they liked it and I got a lot of views and stuff. So I guess it's ended up pretty good. But anyway, let's go back to the PowerPoint. I think I kind of skipped these slides because I was actually doing them. So we did this. Boom. And reuse songs. All right, let's just recap. Step 1, quick and dirty outline. That's just the chord progression. Step 2, right hand. Just the simple one-note melody. Step 3 is the left-hand Lego blocks. You're going to add a left-hand pattern. Step 4, right-hand Lego blocks. You can transpose it up or down. You can add octaves or rolled chords, something like that. And you can add flares if you want. Then you add intro, outro, transition. And now you can copy and paste, use those same Lego blocks for different songs. All right, we just did 2 examples. So, all right, let's talk about the biggest mistakes now. Single biggest mistake, people quit after one song because the first song is kind of hard because you have to go through it, you have to rewind the video a bunch of times and how did he do that? And you gotta transpose all these notes. The first song is hard, but please, I'm begging you, just at least do it for the second song because the second song, you have a bunch of blocks already learned that you can just re-put into that second song. It gets way easier after the first time of doing it. 2, they try to do too many blocks too fast. Look, if you're a beginner, if you're an advanced piano player already, you could put a bunch of blocks in right away. If you're not, that's fine. Just start with 1, maybe 2 blocks. Start the first song you learn, just learn a left-hand pattern, right? And then maybe use that left-hand pattern in 3 or 4 other songs. And then once that's good, that block is set. Now you can move on to another block, arpeggio flares. And you add a couple of those in the songs, and then that block is good. Don't try to put everything in at the same time because it's going to be overwhelming and frustrating. The other thing is not also learning to play by ear or sight read. I don't want you to be hampered and to use this just as a crutch. It's a great way of learning songs. I am a very big proponent of it, obviously, because I'm teaching it. But I think it's also important to spend that 5 to 15 minutes every day, either on sight reading or learning to play by ear exercises. I'll get into more exercises for playing by ear and where those come from in a little bit. All right, so here's what I want you to have, my goals. I want you to develop an arsenal of these blocks that you can just use at will in any song. I want you to have fluid songs, not static songs, meaning don't think of your songs anymore as this is one song, this is another song. Think of it as I have this melody, but I have this block, and I can interchange this block. It's fluid. I could put a different block in. I could put a different block in. If I want it more exciting, I'll put a jump bass pattern in. If I want it more sensitive and soft, I'll put a left-hand slow arpeggio pattern in. You can literally block and chunk it out however you want. My other goal, make songs your own. I definitely think at the start, it's very helpful to just copy what other people did. So if you want to copy some stuff I did or some stuff one of your other, piano idols does, you can absolutely just copy them. But eventually, I want you to get to the point where you're like, this is what I like. I like songs that sound like this, and I know other people are going to too, so I'm going to make up my own things. My other goal, have you remember songs. Now, like I said before, if you know this method, all you have to learn is the melody. And since you're transposing everything to C, you know it's all going to be the right notes, the white notes. It makes it so much easier to memorize because later on, even if you don't fully remember the melody, you'll have the left-hand pattern solid, don't even have to think about it. And the melody, it's going to be all white notes, so you can kind of use your ear to figure it out. So it's going to be way easier to actually remember songs that you know. And obviously, it'll help you learn songs fast. I want you to spend more time enjoying songs and less time learning songs. All right, so where to find these blocks like this one? Well, there's a couple free ones I have in my Piano Superhuman course. If you're not already a member of that, I'll put the link down below to sign up. And you'll get this left-hand pattern, That's in there. Arpeggio sweeping. That's in there. There's a couple other ones in there that you can use. The other place is Project Captivate. It's a course I came up with completely for this idea. The goal of this course is to be able to have you be able to captivate audiences, not just entertain people, but give you all those crazy flares. And they're actually all way easier than you think, you know? I mean, this thing, all it is a note C, or A, C, E, 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 A, C, E. That's it. And there's a certain system to learn it. And we'll go over into that. I go in Project Captivate. There's a certain form you have to use, and there's a certain way you have to practice it, but it's not that hard. It's really not. I'm going to show you Project Captivate real quick, just so you know. Where did I put that? Here, I put it here. Okay, so here's all the lessons. That's part 2, part 1. So first is going to be intro and overview. Then there's going to be a lesson on arpeggio flares, which are these. Arpeggio sweeping. Octave flare, I won't go through all these. Octave flares, machine gun octaves, left hand arpeggio patterns, left hand jump pace patterns. Then there's machine guns chords, glissandos, trills, tremolos, roll chords. Complete training plan how to learn these. And then there's going to be 3 more examples of the Lego block method explained. And this is going to be a more advanced one. So you can go through those as well as a bunch of PDF downloads. And just to show you what a lesson looks like, let's go into left-hand arpeggio patterns. A lot of people are interested in those. So what it's going to be, if you go into any of these lessons, first it's going to give you an estimated time to learn. So for these, I said estimated time 1 to 4 weeks with 10 minutes a day of practice. If you practice these, you do your normal practice routine. You spend the last 10 minutes just going over these one of these patterns. You can learn it in a week to 4 weeks. Apparently people can learn it faster than that, because on the video I put up, people are saying they're learning it in 1 hour, so maybe even faster. So there's 3 videos. This first video is going to show you the actual notes you play. The second video is going to show you the form, because what I realized, if you play with a stiff form, you're not going to get it fast. There's certain wrist motions that allow you to play the fast arpeggios. And octaves, stuff like that. So I'm going to be going over exactly how your wrist and your fingers should move together to make it actually flow. And then the third is accelerated learning techniques, basically practice strategies on how to learn these left-hand patterns fast as possible. Then under that, this is see the left-hand arpeggios in action. So here's pattern 1. I'm going to have a link, pattern 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can literally click on one of these and it'll go to an actual video of me actually playing using that pattern. So here's a blank space cover I put up a while ago. So that left-hand pattern I'm using right here, that's one of them I'm teaching. So you can actually hear what it sounds like in an actual song. I want to make sure you guys know I'm not just making these up and not using them. These are real things I use in real life all the time. This is very practical knowledge. So I'll have that. I'll have key points from the lessons, any PDFs you need. These are all these cheat sheets and stuff, similar to what I showed you guys in here. And then the action step. Action step is saying, what are you going to do right now to achieve your goal and learn one of these blocks? So that's Project Captivate. And I'm actually going to give you a bonus deal. Where did I put that PowerPoint? It's going to be a bonus deal going on, which has actually it's probably the best deal I've ever given away on Piano University. And just Project Captivate, you can get started 10 minutes a week, or that should say a day. I did that wrong. 10 minutes a day, and you can learn this stuff in a week. Or learn like one pattern in a week. You can learn a different pattern the next week, that kind of stuff. All right, what about the bonuses? Boom. So the total value of all these bonuses I'm going to show you is actually $2,000. First, you're going to get Project Captivate, obviously. This retails on my website for $595 or $597. Then you're going to get Technique Mastery course. What this is it's a course that actually gives you the fundamentals of technique, right? I'm teaching you all the crazy flares, the left-hand patterns. This is stuff like scales, arpeggios, all the basics. And let me just show you real quick. So here's Project Captivate, but you also up here, advanced technique lessons. So there's going to be a beginners and an advanced, and has hand position, over under technique, scales made easy, Finger Independence, the Finger Gauntlet, Complete Training Plan. So you're going to go through the beginner's lessons and develop what I call a technique workout plan that you do every day before you practice that'll just slowly and gradually build that rock solid technique. And then once you're done with that, you'll move on to the advanced technique training lessons. So that's thrown in fully free if you get Project Captivate. And then you also get play-by-ear mastery course. This goes for $5.97 on my website too. Now, since you're learning the Lego block method, I know I mentioned before, you should also be learning to sight read or to play by ear. Well, here's a systematic way to do it. Basically, we start out with 3 notes. You learn to play by ear just within those 3 notes. Then we gradually add a 4th note, and a 5th, and a 6th, until you have an entire octave learned, and you can play any song by ear. You also get the music theory mastery course. Now, a lot of the stuff we talked about in this course, you're actually using music theory with the cheat sheets, but you might not understand and fully conceptualize the music theory process. So I'm going to throw on my music theory mastery course. That usually is $5.97. Throw it in for free. Downloadable, the cheat sheets, $27 value. Those are all free. Interactive quizzes and tests on the play-by-ear and the music theory courses. Those all come in free. And all the key points and action steps, all that comes in free too. I'm not going to charge you $2,839 for it. That's ridiculous. I'm only going to charge you $27 a month. If you're interested, you can cancel at any time. You could go in, try to learn everything fast, cancel. You could go in, take 3 to 4 months to learn everything, then cancel. Or you could just have it and just always have it forever as a reference. So to get that, you just have to go here, bestpianoclass.com/Project Captivate deal to get the deal. It's 100% risk-free. For any reason in the next 60 days, you can just email me and get your money back. Look, I run an honest piano business. I would never want to cheat anybody out of your money. So if you, for any reason, are just like, this is not what I thought it was going to be, this doesn't work, all you got to do is email me, Zach@bestpianoclass.com. I'll just shoot you all your money back, so that way you can try it out risk-free. All right, so here's what to do now. Go to bestpianoclass.com/Project Captivate deal, purchase it $27 a month, and then log in and start building your Lego block arsenal. So let's just go through real quick. I'll have a link too, but just in case you don't want to go through the link, we'll just check it out. So bestpianoclass.com, Project Captivate deal. Project Captivate deal. It's loading. Internet's been slow. All right. So this is a page that'll give you more information on Project Captivate. If you're not sure yet, you want to see what it is. And notice this is the webinar special bonus deal page and the bonus deal link. So you can see more information if you want on it, or to buy it, all you got to do is click yes. And it'll go to the pricings options page. Now remember, you get the special price, $27 a month. Usually this is $57 a month just for Project Captivate without any of the bonuses. You can also buy it with all the bonuses too, $297 lifetime access. If you're planning on sticking around for more than 10 months, this is worth it. Or you can get it for $8 a week if you want the just a low investment upfront type of thing. All you have to do is click Get Started. And note, I also put the lifetime access is truly lifetime. This is lifetime. This isn't yearly payments of $297. You pay one time, that's it. But anyway, if you went through the 27 Get Started, then all you got to do is fill out your contact and your payment information, click Submit and get access, and you will get access to all the bonuses along with the Project Captivate course. So remember, you get Project Captivate, Technique Mastery, Play-by-Ear Mastery, Music Theory Mastery, downloadable PDF cheat sheets, interactive quizzes and tests, and the key points of action steps, all for $27 a month. If you're interested, click, I'll have a link right below, or you can just go bestpianoclass.com/Project Captivate deal. Thanks a lot for watching this webinar. I really hope all this stuff helped you out. And if you're interested, click the link below now and sign up.